Welcome to today's explainer. We're jumping straight into something that affects literally every single one of us, the fascinating psychology of emotional self-control. And the best part? We're going to unpack all of this while learning the exact powerful vocabulary you need to describe these tricky experiences. Look, if you've ever had a morning that completely derailed your entire day, or you felt totally overwhelmed by some tiny, silly frustration, you are definitely in the right place. To kick things off, I want you to picture a moment I guarantee we can all relate to.
Listen, it betrayed me. No coffee came out. It was an emergency. I mean, how incredibly relatable is that? This is exactly what happens when tiny little frustrations trigger these massive emotional reactions. A coffee machine doesn't work, and suddenly, in our heads, it's an absolute emergency. The inanimate object has literally betrayed us. Sure, it's funny looking back on it, but in the heat of the moment, that feeling is intense, and it's very real. And really, it sets the stage for a much bigger question about who is actually in charge of your day. Which brings us to part one. When emotions drive the car, what actually happens when your feelings grab the steering wheel?
Imagine your life is a vehicle. When your feelings grab the wheel, let's just say they do not follow the rules of the road. They speed, they take wrong turns, and ultimately they cause your day to crash. One short, vague message from a boss or one tiny mistake, and your brain instantly starts yelling that everything is completely ruined. If that sounds familiar, I want you to take this to heart. You are not broken. You are human. It is absolutely crucial to understand that everyone, and I mean everyone, experiences this sudden loss of control. Having big feelings doesn't mean you're flawed. It just means your brain is working exactly the way a human brain is supposed to work. Every highly successful person gets tired, annoyed, or anxious. The difference isn't about perfectly deleting those feelings, it's about what you choose to do next. And that leads us to our primary goal, and actually our first essential vocabulary word, self-control. This means managing your thoughts and actions even when your feelings are very strong. Remember, we are not trying to get rid of your feelings. Feelings are totally fine. The goal here is just refusing to let those feelings make all the decisions for you. You can feel absolutely terrified or incredibly angry, but through self-control, you just don't let that emotion become the boss of your actions. Let's move right into part two, small actions on bad days, and how we actually start building positive momentum. We all know that morning slump, right? Your alarm goes off early, you feel exhausted, maybe you're just a little angry at life, and your very first instinct is to smash that snooze button. Then you check your phone, see some bad news, and poof, your motivation is totally gone. When we hit that slump, we tend to do something pretty self-destructive. Imagine your day is a house with many rooms: work, family, health, hobbies. But when a problem happens in the morning, it's like a light breaks in just one room, and your response is to lock every single door in the entire house. You end up carrying that bad mood around like a dirty wet jacket. You wear it to work, you bring it home to your family, and you let it ruin perfectly good spaces, all because of one bad moment. So how do we fix this? Well, we need to become relentless. Being relentless means you do not stop. You keep going again and again, even when it is incredibly hard. On a lazy, terrible day, a relentless person doesn't sit around waiting for the perfect mood to strike. They just say, you know what, I will do 10 minutes. That's it. Just powering through 10 minutes of studying or working, even when it feels super uncomfortable, builds unstoppable momentum. It basically sends a message to your brain that you are going to show up, even when you feel incredibly low. And as you practice being relentless, you start developing our next word, resilient. A resilient person is someone who falls down but flat out refuses to stay down. They stand back up. If you have a terrible morning where technology fails, the coffee spills, and everything just goes wrong, being resilient means you take a breath, you shake it off, and you deliberately reopen the other rooms in your day. You tell yourself, okay, that part of the day was awful, but the afternoon can still be good. Now, let's take these tools and apply them to one of the most challenging environments out there. Part 3, the workplace emotional gym. Navigating professional stress. Work and school are basically giant gymnasiums for our emotions. They're packed with countless stressful moments, competing opinions, and situations that can cause our feelings to spike super fast. When we face that stress, we usually default to one of two extremes. And honestly, both of them can completely derail our professional success. On the left side, we have bottling up feelings. You smile, you hide the frustration, you push it all down, until one day you're crying in the bathroom, completely ready to quit. On the right side, we have reacting in the heat of the moment. You get stressed out, you start talking way too fast, your voice pitches up, and you end up saying things you deeply, deeply regret. But there's a middle path here, the healthy path, and that is being composed. Being composed means looking calm and in control. even when inside you are feeling all of that stress. Your heart might literally be dancing with anxiety, your hands might be shaking under the desk, but your face remains steady, professional, and completely calm. You still feel the emotion, for sure, but you are choosing exactly how and when you speak. So, the million-dollar question is, how do we actually stay composed? Well, the source material gives us this fantastic practical tool called the 5-second breath trick. When your emotions start rising, you do not answer immediately. You take one slow 5-second breath. You just physically slow down for a moment. You can even just say, hey, can we talk about this after the break? Those 5 seconds of intentionally pausing before you respond to a stressful message, they can literally save friendships, and frankly, they can save jobs. All right, let's transition into part 4, rising above external judgments. This is all about learning to ignore the noise, because let's face it, it's not just our internal stress we have to manage, it's other people's opinions too. So many of our biggest emotional reactions come from what we imagine other people are thinking about us. Their judgments can unfairly box us in. We see this super vividly with unfair stereotypes. Things like quiet people cannot be strong leaders, or making English mistakes means you are not intelligent. Look, if you let these toxic ideas into your head, you'll start living inside them like a tiny cramped room. You might even convince yourself to give up on your biggest dreams entirely just because you don't fit into someone else's narrow mold. To combat this, we have to grow a thick skin. Now, to be clear, this does not mean you turn into a robot who never feels pain. If someone criticizes you or leaves a mean comment on the internet, feeling a little ouch is completely normal. Growing a thick skin simply means learning not to let every single small comment or piece of criticism control your entire life or delete your goals. You are actively protecting your heart and your ambitions from unsupportive strangers. And when those criticisms inevitably hit, you rise above it. You stay calm, and you act at a higher level instead of dragging yourself down into the negativity and the drama. If someone laughs at your accent or openly doubts your project, you don't go fight them in the comments section. No way. You prove those critics wrong by showing real results, by getting better, and by growing. You let your daily actions dictate your future, not their words. This brings us toward our conclusion with part 5, decisive leadership of your life, and how to effectively guide your choices. When you are trying to grow, you have to make long-term choices, and that is incredibly hard to do when fear, doubt, and other people's opinions are all yelling at you at the exact same time. The source outlines this brilliant 3-step tactic for navigating those loud, chaotic moments. Step 1. Separate your feeling time from your decision time. Let yourself feel the fear, actually write it down in a notebook to get it completely out of your head. Step 2. Shift over to the facts and data. Ask yourself, what is the real risk here? And finally, step 3. Make the choice based on that data. You're giving your emotions space to speak, sure, but you are not letting them get 5 votes in the final decision. By following those specific steps, you become decisive. You make a clear decision, and you stop changing your mind every 2 minutes. Once a decisive leader makes a plan, they protect it. They might say, I'm going to test this plan for 3 months, and then they stick to it with relentless action. They do this even on the days when their feelings are totally bored, scared, or shouting at them to change direction all over again. Which beautifully brings us right back to our opening metaphor, perfectly summarized by this quote. Your goals drive the car, and your emotions sit in the front seat with you, but with a seatbelt. You see, you aren't kicking your emotions out of the car. You're accepting your humanity, you're listening to your feelings, but you're keeping them safely strapped in. They aren't wrestling you for the steering wheel, and they definitely aren't crashing your future. So, I want to leave you with a provocative question to really ponder. Do I let one bad moment decide my whole day? The next time your alarm goes off and you desperately want to hit snooze, or a machine quote-unquote betrays you and denies you coffee, remember this explainer. Think about the rooms in your day. Shake it off, take that slow 5-second breath, and actively choose to put your goals right back in the driver's seat.